Hi, everybody. Well, here I am for the first time trying a streamed class. My lovely daughter, Gwyneth, made me a Heart First Yoga YouTube channel. I will send this link out to everyone, and if you want to continue to receive notifications about when I put a video up, you need to subscribe to the channel. Hopefully, as time goes on, I will send you an advance notification in case you want to join me live to take a class with me, which would be great. I wish we could all be together in person, but at least we can still practice yoga in some form. So for today's practice, I thought we would do a deep yin practice because yin yoga is known to help soothe the nervous system as well as slow us way down, which many of us have already done by what is occurring in the world, but we need patience. We need patience for yin yoga. They are deeply held stretches for a deeper connective tissue type lengthening, as well as patience for allowing our body to unfold and respond to time and gravity and what we're asking of it. So for today's practice, you will need a blanket roll about this size and this diameter. You can put that aside for now. And you will also need a couple of yoga blocks. If you do not have yoga blocks, you can use books that are relatively the same size. Not to worry, we can improvise, and I will also have variations for you if you do not have blocks to just use your blanket roll. So let's sit quietly for a few moments together. Come to a comfortable seat, meaning that your hips are up higher than your knees. Mine are at about a level position right now. I don't want to go too high because I'm afraid the top of my head will be outside of our video stream here. So close your eyes and gently rest your hands on your legs as you begin to settle into a few of your deepest breaths of the day. Let your breaths solidify your commitment to be with me for the next half hour or so as we connect to that part of ourselves that is unchangeable no matter what is happening in the world. Let's begin at the threshold, the doorway inside, which is the physical body. Very easily accessed because we can come into these tangible feelings, sensations. A great place to begin is where the body is making contact with the earth. So your shins, the sides of your ankles, your sits bones, maybe the sides of your thighs, depending how you're seated. Let the bodily sensations ground you here in this moment. We will invoke the two types of energy flow that we can play with on our yoga mats. Apana energy, which is down and out. Activities such as body scans, paying attention to physical sensations, hiking, going for walks, communing with nature. And now bring your awareness and your attention inward to your breath and your inner landscape, feelings, emotions, beliefs, anything and everything that you have brought to your mat and to your practice today. Welcome it all, judge nothing. This is a more pranic, prana type energy flow, moving in and upward. Meditation, breath work, yoga practice, all helps to facilitate that. Let's invite the two different energies to flow in our practice today, meeting at our heart center, right in the middle, meeting heaven and earth. Animate your breath by bringing into your practice the yogic 3-part breath. As you inhale, the belly puffs out, the ribs expand all the way up under the collarbones. And as you exhale from the collarbones down. Inhaling, belly, ribs, collarbones, exhaling in the reverse direction. Smoothing out in between all 3 breaths. And smoothing out. Inhaling and exhaling, letting one flow into the other. In the quiet and privacy of your own practice, maybe you set an intention for yourself today. What do you hope to get from your practice? And make sure you leave with what you came for. Let's take one more big breath in together. Sigh it out of your mouth. Begin to slowly open your eyes. Inhale your arms up high overhead. Relax your shoulder blades down your back. This will be fun because as I make mistakes, they will be recorded, so bear with me. Relax your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a big breath in. If it's okay with your neck, take a peek up and look at your fingertips. As you exhale, let the arms float back down to the floor and bring your chin down to your chest. Inhale, reach and look up. Exhale, hands down, chin to chest. One more time, both hands up high overhead. Take a peek, look at the fingers. Exhale the left hand down. Reach over, nice little side bend. Make sure that right hip stays nice and heavy on the floor. Inhale, both hands up high overhead. Exhale, right hand down, left hip heavy. One more time on each side. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the side. Keep your gaze focused up toward the ceiling. It keeps the front of the body open. Inhale up. Exhale over. Inhale and release. Inhale your arms up high overhead. As you exhale this time, twist to the right or to the left. I'm mirroring you. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to show up on the video, but let's try that. Inhale through center, exhale in the opposite direction. Probably your right. Inhale up, one more time on each side. Exhale, twist. This is a very basic practice today. Inhale up, exhale, twist. Release the twist, bring your hands to your knees, and just begin to make some circles. Circling your torso around an axis, if you could imagine, of your pelvis and your sits bones. So this is a nice plain vanilla circle. Now we can really get into it. Side bend, bend the elbows, drop your shoulders. If you find any little sticky spots, stop, linger, wiggle around, wobble. You can reverse the direction when you're ready. Make sure you're breathing, adding a breath with your movement. One more time, switching directions. And come back to seated. Let's bring the legs out in front of us. Spread the feet nice and wide and let the knees come wide. And just start to windshield wiper your knees from side to side. Side to side. Kick that hip up in the air. Kick your hip up. Not just in the hips. See if you can feel this in the lower back. The next time you come over to the left, swing your back arm up. Reach. Exhale, come back to center. Reverse. Breathing and moving, pairing breath with movement. Vinyasa, little warm up. One more time, each direction. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Let's come into our first yin pose. We may know it as butterfly. So when I'm sitting in an upright position, I like to take a little something, place it underneath the sits bones so that you are sitting right on the edge and the object that you're sitting on is rotating your pelvis forward. It's tipping your pelvis forward. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees come wide. You can just rest your hands right on your ankles. It's not about pulling or striving or reaching. As you start to slowly fold forward, tipping from the pelvis first, leading with the chest. As you feel that significant resistance in your inner thighs, gently place your hands flat on the floor and roll and curl your torso down. Let your head hang down. Find your breath. We build each and every pose with exquisite detail and attention to the body, inviting shapes into our bodies, not forcing our bodies into poses ever. And then we drop all the attention to physical detail and we come back to our breath over and over, where we're balancing these two energy types, apana, feeling the body on the floor, feeling the body in different shapes, prana, returning back to the breath and the focus, concentration. You can close your eyes in these poses, practicing pratyahara, another limb of yoga, withdrawal of the senses. Forward folds in Yin Yoga can be quite satisfying because as your body starts to respond to time and gravity and the tissues start to loosen up and lengthen, you may feel the torso inch by inch, eighth of an inch by eighth of an inch start to sink toward the floor. Evidence that something is happening. Let's take 3 more very deep breaths here in butterfly. Let your 4th inhalation slowly walk you back up to a nice upright position. You can straighten your legs out, wiggle them around, thump them on the floor, do anything to release that pose. Let's let the legs come wide into a dragonfly. So you're in a nice wide straddle. Bring your block, one of your blocks, or you can use a book, as I mentioned. Take your block and place it to the inside of one of your knees. I'm going to move this camera down just a little bit so you can see my legs. Pardon me for the adjustment. Take your block and move it to the inside of your right knee. We'll start with the right knee. Sit up nice and tall. As you twist toward the left leg, take your right arm, bring your elbow down onto your block. Keep coming until your head is resting comfortably in your hand. If you need more height, make your block higher. This left arm can either be stretched up overhead, relaxed, hanging over, or if that's too much on the shoulder, simply bring it and let it rest behind your left hip on the floor. And take advantage of these nice wide open ribs on the left by finding your breath. Recently, my family has decided to rescue another dog. We're fostering to adopt. We've had her for 2 weeks. Her name is Baby. And we believe her history is that she was a feral dog for about a year. So she feels most comfortable when she's outdoors and with other dogs. She does not know how to live in a house, or she's learning, I should say. I've been thinking about how helping her heal and bringing her into our home is much like a Yin Yoga pose. We've had to be very patient and allow her to unfold like a beautiful rose, not peeling the petals back because we want to see its full bloom. We're celebrating small milestones when she goes upstairs to bed without having to be put on her leash. She's finally come to the front door and let me put her leash on her without having to trick her and corner her and chase her. Patience. Let's take 3 more deep breaths as I tell you part B of the story when we move over to the other side. As you inhale, start to bring your torso up, release your head, and let's switch sides. So just move your block over to the other side, your left knee, and turn to face the right leg. We sneak up on this block over here on our left. And as you side bend to bring your elbow down onto the block, let your head rest. Once again, arm can be stretched up, flopped overhead, or you can tuck your hand behind your back, behind your hip. So part B of this story, if you attend my classes regularly, you know that the reason I teach yoga and the reason I do yoga is to practice all of this great stuff. My yoga mat is like a laboratory. I may show up with different hypotheses and I bring my yoga practice in to mix it all up, try things out, and then I bring my results back out into my life. It is a two-way street. So I practice my Yin Yoga for patience because, believe it or not, I lack in that department. So patience with our new doggie, to let her feel comfortable and unfold and come into her truest at her own time when she can trust. Being her foster mom has been a wonderful practice. Let's take a few more deep breaths right here. This is a side bending dragonfly. We'll take a tour of the hips today. Slowly begin to inhale your way back up to seated. You can remove your blocks over to the side for now. Stretch out your left leg and bring your right knee to be bent and on top of the left. You can stay right here if you're already feeling a nice deep stretch in the outside of your hip, or if you would like to, you can fold that bottom leg underneath as well. So now you have here, your two knees are stacked one on top of the other, coming into shoelace pose. Make sure you have a nice straight posture. If not, if your hip is way up and you still want to try this, please tuck in the gaps with props so that this hip can now lean on something and I can bring my torso back to straight. We always want to come at every shape with a nice neutral spine. So sit up nice and tall. As you begin to fold forward, you may not have to go very far to feel quite an intense stretch. And once you feel that significant resistance in the tissues, stop there and hang out. You can close your eyes, or if you would like to, you can continue to come all the way down, drape, and bring your head down to rest. And find your breath. The state of the world certainly gives us right now lots of opportunities to find patience. So in this intense pose, these deep hip stretches can bring up a lot. Think of an area in your life where you could maybe use a little more patience. If you are a parent with kids at home schooling at home, maybe there. Maybe interpersonal relationships get charged with differences of opinion. Maybe more patience with yourself, expecting yourself to be perfect, navigating these uncharted territories. Where can you make one little shift this week, this being Sunday, where you can just take a deep breath before you react? Let's take 3 more breaths right here. Inhale your way back up to a nice tall spine. You can unwind your legs. Get ready for that on the other side. So once again, the bottom leg can be straight and you can bring your top leg to rest as is, or if you would like to fold both legs underneath you, stacking your knees. Again, tuck things in. If you're here, tuck your blanket in and come back to a nice neutral spine. Sit up nice and tall first. Lead forward with the chest tipping the pelvis. Find your stretch. Stay there or fold forward. And find your breath. Tune into your sits bones and see if they are weighted equally in this shape. If not, can you make one little adjustment in your hips to shift over We don't want a misalignment of one part of the body to cause problems in the other part of the body. So even in such an intense stretch, see if you can allow your breath to bathe you, finding the sweetness in this moment. I, for one, need to do this on a daily basis right now. There are many sweet moments within our days, even in the midst of this crisis. We have to slow down and be patient enough to listen and open our eyes and really be present, welcoming it all, judging nothing. Let's take 3 more deep breaths right here. Let the next inhalation bring you back to a nice upright posture and start to unwind your legs. Come off of your blanket roll and make sure it's a roll again if you have flattened it by sitting on it. Bring your roll so that it is perpendicular to your mat. The roll will eventually be at the level of your shoulder blades. We're going to come into a back bend. Bring yourself down, again, so that the roll is at the level of the shoulder blades. As you bring your arms out, either to a T position or folded in cactus, let the tops of the shoulders find the floor. So as you can see, I'm in a pretty good back bend here. My chest is splayed, wide open, and my shoulders are relaxed down on the floor. As far as what you do with your legs, you can bring your feet wide and let your knees tent in toward one another. You can bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come wide into a reclined butterfly. Or you can let your legs just come long, and maybe your hip flexors are tight enough that you will get a stretch right here where you are. So close your eyes here and really bring your attention to your breath in this shape. Let's find that 3-part breath that we built at the beginning of our practice. As you inhale, puff the belly up toward the sky, spread the ribs all the way up under the collarbones, and as you exhale, reverse that. Let's take advantage of this nice wide open posture. Inhale, belly puffs up, ribs expand, collarbones lift. Exhale, release. Continue with this practice for several more breaths. Inhaling, expanding the ribs, expanding the belly. Exhaling, relaxing. Opening your heart up energetically and physically in this posture so that maybe you can have the awareness to experience the blessings in this day-to-day life right now. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Slowly bring your arms in, bend your knees if they're not already bent. And you can roll yourself over onto your side to get up. Have a block handy. You can take your roll out of the way for now. And you can come back down onto your back. Bring your feet about hip distance apart and have your block so that when you lift your hips up into a bridge pose, take your block and place it just underneath your sacrum. So the sacrum is that bone in between your 2 hip crest bones, just on the back of your pelvis. It's lower than your lower back and higher than your tailbone. If it's okay with your back, start to slowly straighten one leg and then the other. And you've come into a nice little back bend again, but we have a different focal point. So this time, our focal point is the pelvis and the lower back. We're stretching and elongating the fronts of the hips, namely our hip flexors. So relax here. You can bring your arms down by your sides, or you can bend your elbows again and let them come into cactus arms. I'm going to keep mine down by my sides. And as you breathe, focus on all of the parts of you that are touching the floor. So come back into that apana energy, or apana, however you pronounce it. I've heard it both ways. The down and out focus. Being in touch with the physical sensations of the body can be a really great rescue remedy when you are so in your head with worry or fret or fear. Wherever you are, just stop wherever you are and feel where you're making contact with the earth. It may just be the soles of your feet, but get grounded. Let's just take a few more breaths in our passive hip flexor stretch. You can bend one knee and then the other. Lift the hips and slowly remove your block. Roll over onto your side and press your way up to a comfortable seat. Grab your roll once again and find your little bolster. So you put your sits bones right on the edge and let your pelvis tip forward. Sit nice and tall with a nice straight spine and slowly start to tip forward with your legs straight out. Once you feel that nice significant resistance down the back of the legs, drape, relax. As we now bring our attention to the back of the body, we've stretched both sides of our bodies, the front of our body, the back of our body. Same with our hips, inside, outside, front, and back. We've breathed, we've built a breathing practice, we've focused our attention on energy. We've gotten a lot done and nothing all at the same time. As your body starts to respond to both gravity and time, maybe the torso relaxes even more, draping toward the floor. Three more deep breaths. And caterpillar. We're all similar to caterpillars right now, as we're all in our own cocoons, waiting till the moment again when we can come out and fly. Slowly start to come back up to seated and make your way all the way down onto the floor in a comfortable relaxation pose. Maybe it is Shavasana, maybe you find refuge on your belly, or you can bring your legs up the wall. In any case, let's rest for a few breaths together. Without any disruption at all to this cultivated place of peace that you have formed. Begin to bring your awareness back to any physical sensations that you're noticing in your body. Any sounds that you may be hearing in your environment. Let the soundscape just wash through your awareness. And begin to deepen your breath. Let the wisdom of your breath energy body guide you in any little physical movements, connecting the two bodies that would aid in your awakening until eventually you find yourself curled up over onto your side. Pausing here in our practice to extend gratitude first and foremost to ourselves for taking the time on our mat, and also to any of those people who helped make it possible. Straighten out your top leg, press your way up to a nice comfortable seat. And join me with your hands in prayer position, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart center, if that feels okay. And as we prepare to do what may be the most courageous thing of our day, leaving our mats, stepping back out into our lives, which may seem like a wild and crazy ride right now, because it is. May we take with us any little nuggets of wisdom, blessings, lessons, insights, back out into our lives, so that we and all beings everywhere may be peaceful, may know love, and may stay healthy, living with abundance and at least enough, free from any causes of sorrow or suffering. It was my sincere pleasure to share this practice with you, this crazy online yoga world now. Thank you for joining me. I miss you all, and I send you all love. Namaste.